So dear students, we are back again with this very important topic, or today we are going to talk about the next topic in electrostatics, which is also the heart of electrostatics. We can say that this defines electrostatics. So what I am speaking about, मैं किसकी बात कर रहा हूँ? I am speaking about Coulomb's law. हम Coulomb's law की बात करने वाले हैं. Coulomb's law को they also call as the inverse square law. Inverse square law वो होते हैं जिनमें force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance. And this is one of the laws of nature, like the law of gravitation. It's also very similar to the law of gravitation. So in this topic, like we are talking about Coulomb's law. So it's a very simple topic actually, but just you should remember a few things. So what is Coulomb's law? If we define it, Coulomb's law says that if there are 2 point charges Q1 and Q2, which are, let us say, separated by a distance r. So these are 2 point charges. So what is important to note here is it's not applicable for extended bodies. So what I mean here is, like, suppose you have these two objects, one is this object and another is this object, and it contains charge Q1, Q2, and they are separated by some distance r. So we cannot apply Coulomb's law here because these are not point charges. Point charges basically means the distance between the charges is much larger than the size of the object. So even if you separate these two objects or masses by a big distance, for example, it is here and another one is there. So if that size of the particle or the object is very small compared to the distance between the two objects, then we can apply it. So it is applicable for point charges. So we have considered 2 point charges, and these point charges are Q1 and Q2 as shown in the figure. But we don't know whether Q1 is positive or Q2 is positive or one of them is negative. So I already told you that charge is that property of matter by virtue of which it either attracts or repels another charged particle. So Coulomb's law, the fundamental of it is the charge, which is a property of nature, and this law is also natural. Like, no man has created this law, but it has been discovered by a human beings, by Sir Coulomb, and after the name of the great scientist Coulomb, we have the unit of charge as capital C. Now, without much beating about the bush, let me straight away put the Coulomb's law, which says that F is equal to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. This is as simple as that. There is no complication in this, but just few things we have to remember. First, K is actually 4 pi epsilon naught. K is written as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, where pi is what you know already, and epsilon naught is known as permittivity of free space. This is the term given to that. So we have a particular value of 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. But you should also remember that when I am writing epsilon naught or permittivity of free space, then I am referring to vacuum or approximately air, but air is not strictly vacuum. So if there is no air, then we get vacuum or free space. So these 2 point charges, they are placed in free space or vacuum, then we can write it as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. Now this is found to have a value 9 into 10 raised to the power 9 Newton meter square per Coulomb square. That is, if we are using this as epsilon naught, epsilon is a Greek symbol. So epsilon naught has a value that is 8.854 into 10 raised to the power minus 12 Coulomb square. इससे उल्टा आएगा इसका unit upon, because K is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. So whatever is the unit of K, the reverse of that is the unit of epsilon naught. So when you put this value in this, you get K as this. So you can see that the value of K is very large. If you compare it with gravitational law, then we say F is equal to G m1 m2 upon r square. That is also an inverse square law. but there the value of G is very small, that is 6.67 into 10 raised to the power minus 11, and here you can see is plus 9. So that is why we say that this force of electrostatic attraction or repulsion is much greater than the gravitational force. Gravitational force actually is the weakest force in nature. This is not the strongest but second strongest, that is electromagnetic force. So this force right now we are speaking is, we can call it as electrostatic force, और अभी मैंने जो टर्म यूज़ किया था वो इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक था. तो इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक का ही जो एक पार्ट होता है दैट इज इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक. So that is electrostatic force. Now all of us know that force is a vector quantity in the first place, so it has a direction. So we will speak about the direction, but before that you should also remember that if these charges are not placed in free space or vacuum, then F is equal to K, or let me write it as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught into capital K. Remember, I am not writing the small k, capital K, Q1 Q2 upon R square. Now this we write, this equation we will write when these two charges are not in vacuum but some other medium, that is in a medium where K, capital K is the dielectric constant, is the डाइइलेक्ट्रिक कांस्टेंट. तो इसकी हम बाद में बात करेंगे. डाइइलेक्ट्रिक्स आर मटेरियल्स विच आर पोलराइज्ड. सो इफ दीज टू चार्जेस आर प्लेस्ड इन सम अदर मीडियम अदर देन फ्री स्पेस, then you can say that this force, that is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, it's also getting one more term, that is capital K. So you can say that this is the force in some other medium, simply not in free space. So if I call it as F dash, and F dash is the force in some other medium and F is the force in vacuum, so you can clearly see here that like F dash, this force in some other medium is F upon capital K, where K is the dielectric constant. Now what is the meaning of this? It means that like the force in a particular medium which has a dielectric constant K is K times less than the force in vacuum. So for example, there are two charges and the force there is 100, and you are putting it in a medium which has dielectric constant 10. The force will become 100 upon 10, that is 10 only. So dielectric constant is the term which reduces the force, you can say, between the charges. Now this force between two charges, as I said, now I am coming to the direction. So it also has a directional characteristic. So I will also write the vector form for this force, because you may not be able to understand the direction. Now suppose I am finding the force on 1 due to 2. Now remember, like in all forces we have Newton's second law, Newton's third law valid, that is to every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. So suppose I say that the force on this charge 2, which I am calling as F2 vector, that is force on Q2 due to Q1. So how are we going to write it? So now we'll use a little vector notations. We'll say K, and I again remind you that K is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught in vacuum or free space, Q1 Q2 upon R square into a unit vector from 1 to 2, into a unit vector from 1 to 2. So there is this unit vector in this direction from 1 towards 2. Now how is it important? Now it is important because it tells us that force on this due to this charge is in this direction, is in the direction of unit vector R12. But you will ask me a question, sir, what happens if, like, let us say this is negative and this is positive, or both are negative or both are positive? Now see, if both are positive, positive is positive, so the force on this will be in the direction of this, because plus is plus. Similarly, if both are negative, so minus negative is also plus, minus is plus in maths, and plus is also plus. So if they have the same sign, like if they have the same sign, which have the same sign, Q1 and Q2, then force will be positive. This term will be positive, and therefore this force vector will be in the direction of this. And this is clear also. How? Because if they are the same sign, then this charge will repel this charge. Repel means the force will be in this direction, that is in the direction of 1, 2. But if we have this as positive and this negative, or this negative and this positive, then we will have a, now if they have opposite sign, then this is plus, this is minus, or this is minus, this is plus, then this term will have a negative term. So we will get F2 vector in direction opposite to R12, opposite to this. How do I know? Because I am getting a minus sign. So if you say, let us say minus of R12 vector, so that is opposite to this. This is R12 vector minus, where is it coming from? From opposite signs of these two charges. तो अगर इन चार्जेस का अपोजिट साइन है तो यहाँ पर जो फोर्स में साइन आएगा वो माइनस साइन आएगा, और माइनस R12 मीन्स दिस वेक्टर, दिस इज माइनस R12 वेक्टर. So that means force on this charge will be in that direction. Now that is also justified, because if this is positive and this is negative, this will attract this charge. So attraction means opposite to R12. So this equation is self-explanatory. If you use this, then you always get the correct value of the force on writing the correct signs of these two charges. Now the question is, can we find the force on this because of this? Because right now I found the force on this because of this. Now if I want to find F1 vector, let me clear this board here. So suppose I want to find F1 vector. Now this is what? This is the force on Q1 due to Q2. So the force on this charge due to this. So do we have to do a separate exercise, or is it managed in this? So this is managed in this, because according to Newton's third law, to every action there is always an equal and opposite reaction. So F1 vector is minus of F2 vector, and minus of F2 means it's K Q1 Q2 upon R square into minus of R12 vector. Why minus? Because we have a minus sign here. Now minus of R12 vector, you can also say, is equal to, I am defining another vector R21, that is in this direction. So R12 is in this direction, R21 is in this direction, and R21 is equal to this. This is equal to, actually it is equal to minus R12. So these two are unit vectors. One is unit vector in this direction, another one is unit vector in this direction. So they are equal and opposite. So just if we find, let us say, minus of F2, then we get the value of force on this. तो इसको सम अप करते हुए बड़ा सिंपली आप ऐसे भी याद रख सकते हो. इफ़ यू डोंट वांट टू कॉम्प्लिकेट थिंग्स टू मच, यू कैन सिंपली रिमेंबर. इसको एक सिंप्लीफाइड मैं आपको इक्वेशन लिख देता हूँ, सो दैट यू डू नॉट गेट इन्वॉल्व इन मच कॉम्प्लिकेशंस. इसका सिंप्लीफाइड वर्जन क्या है? सपोज यू वांट टू, this is Q1. Let me once again draw it and simplify it for you, so you can remember a simplified version. Suppose you are finding force between Q1 and Q2, so you will say it is K, and you remember K is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught in vacuum, and 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught capital K, where K is the dielectric constant in some other medium. So K Q1 Q2 upon R square into a unit vector R. This is, I have simplified it. Now what it means is that if you want to find the force on this charge because of this, and they are separated by this, so I will define a unit vector R that is in this direction. So if you are finding force on this charge, you can define unit vector in this direction, and if you are finding force on this charge, then you can define R vector, R unit vector in this direction. So this is the simplified form of Coulomb's law. Remember, if you are finding charge on Q1, then you will take a unit vector away from Q1, and if you are finding force on Q2, then away from Q2. and give the signs. If plus plus, then the same sign of this will be the force, and if this is plus minus, then opposite sign of this or the attractive will be the force. There are a few things more in this. For example, what happens, let us say, if this is one charge q1 and this is charge q2, and this they are like having position vectors. They are having position vectors. So this has a position vector r1 vector, and this has a position vector r2 vector. So then that is slightly modified, this equation, because now the line joining the two would be this one, and this vector r here, like what r was, now this vector is nothing but it is, this vector is r2 vector minus r1 vector. So if these two charges have position vectors r2 vector and r1 vector, then this r would be replaced by r2 vector minus r1 vector mode, and instead of this will become unit vector, this one, the unit vector of this, that is r2 vector minus r1 vector. So for this case also, if they have position vectors r1 and r2, this is r2 vector, this is r1, like q1 is placed at a point which has position vector r1 and q2 is placed at a point which has position vector r2, then we can write force as, just remember this. Now I cannot write one simple vector, so what I will do is, first I will write it as r2 vector minus r1 vector, this vector divided by the magnitude of this r2 vector minus r1 vector. ये थोड़ा सा आपको complicated लगेगा, but आप समझ जाओगे. So because I could not write simple unit vector like this, so I have written this whole vector divided by its value or the magnitude to convert it into unit vector, and this term is also remaining upon r square. So instead of r square, I will write square of this. So that becomes r2 vector minus r1 vector whole square. तो थोड़ा सा complicated लग रहा है इस form में, if they are not like placed on points along x axis but like this. So इसको अगर मैं simplify करता हूँ तो ये बन जाएगा k q1 q2 into r2 vector minus r1 vector upon, ध्यान से देखिएगा, r2 vector minus r1 vector square and power 1, so that becomes the cube of this mode. So a little complex form, but you should remember this also, k q1 q2 into r2 vector minus r1 vector. What does this mean? That is position vector of this minus position vector of the second charge upon the cube of this. So has it become non-inverse square law? No, it has not become non-inverse square law, because I have already multiplied length, vector length in this and divided by cube. It's like this. You can write 1 upon x square as x upon x cube. So both of them, this is also the same thing as this. So this is still inverse square law, but because now it is not unit vector like this, so therefore we have to make it cube here. So if you know vectors well, then you will be able to, now clearly you can see if r1 vector is 0, let us say r1 vector is 0. So if there is no r1, then it takes the same form, r2 vector upon r2 vector cube. So that will have the, so this will have the same form as this if r1 vector is 0, that is if it is at the origin. But if the charges are not at the origin, if they have position vectors, so if you are not clear about the vectors, you should once go back and revise your chapter on vectors, that what is the meaning of position vector of this charge and what is the meaning of position vector of this charge. And if you are not clear, you can raise that doubt, I will clear to you sometime. So this is the form when the charges are not, let us say, along x axis or y, but in a plane, and they have position vectors as, this has r1, this has r2, k q1 q2 r2 vector minus r1 vector in place of this upon cube of the mod of r2 vector minus r1. Mod means the value of this, length, cube of that. So this is about your Coulomb's law. And one last thing, this video is a bit long but very important part of electrostatics. If you are clear about this, you are almost clear about the whole of the concept. Now what happens, let us say, if there is there are rather multiple charges. For example, if you have a charge q1 and charge q2, and here there is another point charge q3, this is q2, and let us take one more charge here q4, and it can be many. So I now have many pairs, one pair, two pair, three pair, this pair also, this pair also. But suppose we are interested in finding force on q2. Again, it is very simple. We'll do the same thing that we used to do in Newton's laws. So when you have to find the resultant force on something, what do? You do the vector sum of the forces. The same thing we'll do. So F2 vector, the force on this will be the force on this charge 2 due to 1 plus force on 2 due to 3 plus force on 2 due to 4. For example, if you write it in unit vector terms, it will be something like one force would be like this, or it can be like that also, depending upon the sign of the charges. So let us not worry about this. The second force would be like this. So this is you can say your F23 without the vector sign, the value of that. This is F24, and there will be this force also, that is F12 or F21, whatever you call it, F21. So F23 is this one force because of this on this. F21 is the force on this charge due to this, and F24 is the force on this due to this. Now these are three vectors, you can see carefully, this vector, and this vector. So the vector sum of all these forces gives you the resultant force on this. So that we don't go into much details. We will see it when we deal with some practical problems in electrostatics. So when I solve problems on electrostatics, then I will explain you how we use that. But for now, you should remember that it is vector sum of all the forces due to all the surrounding charges. Even if there are n charges, 100 charges, so each of these charges will be exerting a force on this. We will find the vector sum of all these forces and see the resultant Coulombic force. So often this force is called as Coulombic force. So there are many terms: Coulombic force, electrostatic force. It may be a force of attraction or it may be a force of repulsion. So remember, this force is much larger than the gravitational force. And another important difference between gravitational force and electrostatic force is it can be repulsive or attractive. If this is positive, this is negative, it will be attracted. If this is positive, repulsive. This is positive, this is negative, again attractive. So you have both the directions of forces possible. In gravitation, you never have a repulsive force. There is nothing like a gravitational repulsion. And also you should remember that this force always acts along the line joining the two forces. For example, if this is Q1 and this is Q2, it is not possible that this exerts a force on this in this direction. It's impossible. It will be either along this direction or along this. So along the line joining, so that unit vector R is away from this charge on which you are calculating, and if there is a negative sign, then it becomes that in that. So it can be plus x minus x, plus y minus y, depending upon where those. So if those charges are like this, then either in this direction or in this direction, always along the line joining the two charges. But the resultant force because of these three charges may not be, because if you take the vector sum of all these, like suppose you take the vector sum of all these forces, then the vector sum may be like this. So it may not be along the line joining any of the charges. So if resultant force you see, it can be in any direction. For example, this is vector F1, this is F2, F3. So these forces will be along the line joining, but this resultant force, that may be in some other direction. So then this charge will experience a force in that direction, that is in the direction of resultant force. And one last point before I close down this video, and that point is this force will create an acceleration according to the Newton's second law, that is F is equal to ma. So once you are able to find the net force on this charge, then you will write F vector is equal to mass into acceleration vector. So now you will think, where is this mass coming from? So every charged particle has a mass. It is not possible. Even electron, which is the smallest particle, has some mass. You can never have a charge without a mass. You cannot have a charge in space. This pen can have a charge, but it has a mass also. Proton has a charge, it has a mass also. Neutron has a mass but no charge, so there are uncharged particles also. So with this we come to the end of this particular video, and I see you in another video. I am making these videos very informally, it's not in a proper setting, but these are very useful, so you share it with people. Let all learn through this, so you would not require to go to educational institutes and spend money. And when I solve problems on this, then you can easily learn through those problems also. So I'll solve thousands of problems in the times to come, in 6 to 8 months. So you keep following this channel and start learning if you have not started yet. Thank you very much.